Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me introduce myself. My name is Catharina Brameswari, and I am the representative from our research group by Dr. Tatang Iskarna and also Monica Angela Nadine Titaley. In this opportunity, I'm going to present our research on the effects of colonialism toward the Timorese as depicted in Nesi's Orang-Orang Oetimu. And we are from English Letters Department, Universitas Sanata Dharma. Yeah. As a mirror of reflection of the real life, literary works illustrate the interaction between man and society. Through the lens of literary work, the readers can see the real problems which happen around us. The theme of the novel, Orang-Orang Oetimu, is about colonialism which happens in East Timor. The novel is important to be analyzed because we are asked to take a look at the real problem and the effects of colonialism in East Timor. This novel was selected because it contains criticism and sometimes a scold toward the oppressors. In addition, the researchers were interested to deconstruct the issues raised by the writer through the lens of the Timorese. Even though the author focuses on illustrating the life of Oetimu people, the events which take place outside Oetimu have brought such great impacts to this region. Some of them are the effects of the colonization of East Timor by Portuguese, Japanese occupation, the fall of Suharto regime, and even the World Cup final. And based on the issues, this research puts special focus on the attempt to scrutinize the effects of colonialism in East Timor. Let's move to the background of the study. East Timor experienced waves of invasion and colonialism from the Portuguese, British, Japanese, and Indonesian. And after colonizing for 300 years, the Portuguese left East Timor to the new colonialism era. Indonesia's military invasion and the clash between the local groups later brought unending grief to the Timorese. They were put into the oscillation to join the Fratellin or to join Indonesia. The issue is important to be discussed for appreciating, respecting, and maintaining the diversity of all cultures and also traditions are essential. Importantly, it is also the reminder to develop future generations' empathy to understand the misery and suffering of others. This research is also an attempt to reveal the post-colonial issues which is suitable to be employed, for it may illuminate literary works which were written by the oppressed and that come from the East. Even though many previous studies discussed the same novel, they only highlight the issue of binary opposition, hegemony, and deconstruction. Moreover, none problematized the destructive cultural and social effects, and even the hidden colonial power which still exists in the Timorese society. Based on the background and problems mentioned before, the study focuses on the issues concerning with the oppressed in the context of power relation and colonialism. And the problem of the study can be formulated as follows. How are the conflicts described in the novel? What colonial effects are resulted from the conflicts? And what is the post-colonial discourse the novel intends to propose? Based on the background and problem formulations, the study puts special focus to unveil the conflicts described in the novel, and then reveal the colonial effects which are resulted from the conflicts, and find the post-colonial discourse the novel intends to propose. The problem in East Timor, now officially known as Timor-Leste, will always be interesting to be discussed. And moreover, there are many different perspectives that are still potential for the other authors to write Orang-Orang Oetimu, which invites scholarly discussion. The academic discussion toward the novel does not only highlight the binary opposition or the deconstruction on the issue of power relation, but also domination of the ruler. Furthermore, the snowball effects on the military aggression is always an interesting topic to be discussed. So, the other researcher's perspective on this novel is essential as the stepping stone to start this research. Orang-Orang Oetimu has invited scholarly discussion, and the academic discussion toward this novel does not only highlight those two items that I have provided before. Departing from the previous studies, the researchers proposed a study that problematized colonialism in East Timor. From those five discussions, the issue on the binary opposition, hegemony, and deconstruction, which uses Gramsci, Foucault, and Derrida. But none of them specifically problematized the destructive cultural and social effect, and even the hidden colonial powers which still exist. As a result, this investigation tries to fulfill the niche that is still possible to be explored. This research employs the discourse on postcolonialism, since this novel, which describes the issue in East Timor, is written by the Timorese. In the literature review, there are two parts. The first one is the socio-historical review, and the second one is the analysis on the postcolonial theory. And departing from the previous studies, the researcher proposed a study that problematized colonialism in East Timor. And East Timor's journey to independence is long and traumatic. This country has experienced three waves of colonialism era. It was occupied by Portuguese and then took over by the Japanese, and later they lived under the Indonesian forces. The theory describes that postcolonial theory covers three aspects. It is the study of a culture, and then the possibility exists in the resistance of the colonized society. And then, in methodology, we used descriptive, qualitative, and using documentation. The research has four main steps. First, the researchers found the topic, sorted the literary work, and brainstormed the raw data. Second, the researchers wrote the problem formulations. And the third, the researchers applied postcolonialism theory and the data from the supported sources. And the secondary data are imported to see the connection between the real socio-historical context and the events illustrated in the novel. Fourth is the analysis of the novel, which is presented in the discussion part and closed with a conclusion. Moreover, some suggestions to future researchers also offered in the last section. There are our findings. The first one is the conflicts in Orang-Orang Oetimu novel. The second one is the effects of colonialism to the Timorese. And the third one is postcolonial discourse, which is proposed in the novel. Let's start from the first finding. The conflict, mostly told in the novel, was the external struggle that pit the man against society. In this case, it took from, in Portuguese and Japanese colonizers, a tyrannical government, systematic corruption, and hypocrite Catholic priests. Furthermore, probing postcolonial discourse, the researchers want to unveil various conflicts which happened in Orang-Orang Oetimu. In this discussion, the researchers highlight three waves of conflict. The first conflict happened during the Portuguese colonization. The second took place in Japanese colonialization era. And the last conflict was between the Timorese and Indonesian. which came out after the Portuguese and Japan left Timor Island. This condition also resulted in the external conflict between the Timorese and several parties, such as Indonesian soldiers, policemen, politicians, and even the priest church. And Felix Nesi wrote this novel to deconstruct the issues that happened in East Timor from the lenses of the Timorese. He wanted to unveil how their agenda to save the Timorese from communism was only one way to steal their land and natural resources. As a result, this later caused resistance from certain groups in Oetimu. The second finding is on the effect of colonialism of the Timorese. Discussing the effects of colonialism on the Timorese is essential because it scrutinizes the destructive effect and also hidden colonial power which still existed in the Timor society. Moreover, this also has altered the social structure and the relations among the Timorese. The new order, which one-sidedly claimed East Timor territory, caused many people to die. The old Territorial Republic was a new colonizer in East Timor, which caused the genocide. The brutal military occupation by the Republic resulted in the genocide, which mostly was not captured by the camera. Indonesia was once colonialized by the Dutch, then became a new colonizer in East Timor. In this novel, Nelly highlights the destructive cultural and also social effect, and even clash of local parties and hidden colonial power, which still exists in Timorese society. The last one is post-colonial discourse proposed in the novel. Our findings show that post-colonial theory is methodologically used to expose the operations of colonial power, which are hidden behind the theories, attitudes, and practices that seem to have no pretension of colonial power. We found that behind the decolonization project in East Timor, there is the operation of power behind the practices, attitudes, and the theories of a colonized society that seems to have been free and independent. In addition, this concept examines the resistance operations of the colonized society that seem to obey the colonial powers. And based on the analysis, the researchers found that the issue of deconstructive cultural and social effect and hidden colonial power are still exist in Timorese society. Okay, so this is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for your attention and see you.